Hi, I'm Katie Hacker, and I'm here with Nilay Patel, and I'm excited because we're talking about a breath of fresh air.
A breath of fresh air, something fresh and new.
I love it. You always bring great ideas. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to show you this technique that I developed with just beading wire and some knitted wire.
It is genius.
I'm pretty excited. Why don't we get started?
Okay.
I have some knitted wire in front of me. And to do this first step you want to do is take the knitted wire and cut it into 5-inch strands. You want to do 3 of these. So we'll just take this.
Okay, and while you're cutting that, I just want to mention that I've worked with this before, and I think what is so neat and interesting and different about it is that it's actually a tube, a knitted tube.
It is,
right? And then it has, some of the versions of it have a chain running through the middle too.
Absolutely, a little ball chain.
Yeah, it's very structural.
It's extremely structural, but still being silky smooth. And so it has some nice body to it that you can use it as a pretty substantial cord to hang jewelry off of it, or a pendant, excuse me, and still robust enough to weave through it.
Yeah, and it comes in different colors, so you can work with your palette.
Absolutely.
All right, so it looks like you have 3 pinned together.
Yeah, I've stacked 3 together, and I've used a straight pin just to hold them in place, sort of a placeholder so that they don't shift around. I'm actually going to use a beading awl, and I'm going to go through all 3 knits at once. This is a little tricky, so if you just be a little patient, and you can certainly work your way up through just like that. Very easy. This pulls the knits up so that it makes it easy to string things through it.
You're creating a little channel there.
Absolutely. Once you've done that, you can actually take beading wire, and this is 0.019 diameter is what I'm using, and a very beautiful, I think somewhat contrasting color, but it's still in a neutral palette. But I've strung that through, and I kind of just flattened out the knits again. So this holds everything in place. Once you've done that, you can either remove the straight pins if you want to. I kind of keep them in place just to have them there nice and stacked. You can take a 2mm crimp, and I do advise, because we're not putting too many strands of beading wire into a crimp, to have a nice thick-walled crimp. Okay. Quality control, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Very important for me.
It makes a difference.
It absolutely does.
And you're combining, I noticed you're combining a copper color with your other color of wire.
I love
so you can kind
combining
of mix it
colors.
Up.
Absolutely. Yeah. I try and break every rule that I can.
Yeah, we'll take a look at our color palette over there before you get farther. We can show folks that, you know, you can do anything you want, but this is a great fall.
I think this is a perfect fall palette. You could go to spring and summer, especially using the knitted wire in silver. It gives you a lot of opportunity to get punches of color in there. So having the right beading wire makes a difference as well.
Nice.
So I've strung my crimp on, and then what I'm going to do is actually string on another contrasting color right through just the crimp. Okay. Now you're going to see the magic of how to add texture here in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and string that through just like that. You can take a pair of crimpers, and I love these because they're easy to work with, and you just simply press your crimp into a V-notch shape that's at the very bottom of the crimpers, and it gives you 2 different channels that separates the wires. Then what you do is you just flip it on its side, and you can use, this one's got 3 different holes in it, and for what's considered a 2mm, which is a medium-sized crimp, you can use the middle notch to press the crescent shape together. Okay. So let's see if I have it in the right notch here. There we go. Give it a good press. You know that it's secure if you pull on the wire, and it's not going to come out. And then what you can do is actually just trim the top part of this. So I'm just going to use a pair of sharp cutters here. And these are just for, I recommend getting a pair of cutters for just, beading wire, and a pair of cutters for your hard wire. You never want to mix the 2.
That's great advice.
Yeah, it's like fabric scissors. It just gets dull if you cut the wrong thing. So here I've got some immediate texture right there.
Nice.
Since we're branching out.
Waka waka.
Aha. Okay, so what I want to do now is actually go ahead and string on some beads. So to do this, you just simply can string it on. You can put as many or as few as you want. I'm just using some beautiful glass beads here.
So this piece right here is, I don't want to stop you what you're doing, but this is what we're working toward here.
Absolutely.
Is your short pieces are at the top,
yes.
And then you have your crimp and wire
and you could even
through.
Put a bead on the top, which is what I did here, or you could leave it plain and focus more of the weight, the visual weight towards the bottom of the necklace.
It really does look like branches.
Sure, yeah. And then you could take your crimpers and pretty much do the same thing. You want to, if you want to hold that bead in place, you just simply put it in the end notch of your pliers where it's a V shape, turn on its side, and use the mid notch. Just like that. And then for that branching technique, what you can do, I'm going to go ahead and add on another bead real quickly, just to get some texture going. You can string on a crimp, and do you remember that step in the beginning when we crisscrossed another wire?
Yes.
Through the crimp? Well, basically that same idea. You want to just take another color. We'll use
so
this.
you'll just add more branches here.
Absolutely. And
nice.
You don't have to do anything else extra outside of that. You could even have it come up so that whenever you crimp it, you've got some branches that are going straight up instead of just falling down. So it'll give you even more texture.
Right. Yeah, this is fun.
This goes so quickly once you learn this technique.
Would you recommend trying this in different diameters of wire, or what do you think?
I would be very curious to see it. I think if you use a thinner beading wire, you could probably put even more branches within a crimp, you know, versus maybe something thicker. I like the thicker ones because you could see it a little bit easier. So if you're going for less of an illusion, more tree branchy, than having a medium size.
It becomes part of the design itself.
Precisely. And I think that would be better for the colors especially. But, you know, I could be, I'm just imaginating with this, so I would love to see it done in, you know, different size wires. So you just basically keep going and keep adding as you do this. So it's pretty easy. Once you master that crimping, I'm telling you, this goes fast. There we go. I'm just adding on a bead wherever I can between the crimps. Of course, got to get that sparkle in there.
Definitely.
Let's see, there we go. Whoops, sometimes things fall out. You just simply tuck it back in place and keep crimping. So if you ever wanted practice with crimping, this is the project for it.
Well, and it doesn't really show. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not a part of the structure of the design.
Correct.
So if you do need practice, it's a decorative element.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not holding your whole necklace together. If one of these was lost, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
It wouldn't, precisely. So yeah, I just kind of cut my branches down to match the length together at the bottom. You could certainly stagger it if you wanted to.
Okay.
And even add on beads and have them floating there. So that's roughly the technique that I used here.
So once you have your branches on, and you have this as your focal element.
Right.
Now where do we go?
So now we need to connect this to make the necklace rope happen, right? So what I do with this knitted wire is I have these special little findings. This one's for a 3-channel, or this allows for 3 different knitted wires because it's got 3 different channels.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And they have little teeth inside so that you don't need glue.
It's very
and you
secure.
don't need a special tool, right?
Fantastic.
So what I want to do is when I've gone through and made all of my branches come together, you could take a pair of cutters, and I'm going to use these. And you just want to make sure that they're all, stuff flying up, that you want to have these at the same length, just like that.
Okay.
Once they're at the same length, you could certainly just stick it into the finding, just like that.
That is a beautiful finish.
It's pretty professional, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And then you could use a pair of nylon jaw pliers. I recommend these for these particular findings just so you don't scratch them.
Right.
So if your nylon jaws are scratched up, that's actually okay and better because the finding won't. Yeah, exactly. I feel like you've done this before.
Sorry, I'm finishing your sentence.
No, I'm glad that someone else has experienced some of these same things that I have. So yeah, you could kind of just go in and give it a good crimp, and voila.
Ta-da, that is amazing. And so then how will you attach this focal element to the rest of your necklace?
Yeah, and I wanted to show the main piece because here we've actually taken some simple wire wrapping and did the beads in between. And so we can pick out a bead from our little collection here and just start to design it. And I would use a beading board to kind of give yourself an idea of scale to make sure that the measurement is, going to be accurate to what you want it to hang towards. That's very helpful. And then simply just connecting a simpler piece of knitted wire with the double strand here instead of a triple strand to complete the look.
That is so pretty. I really love it. And so right here is your wire wrapped loop and you made a bead link here to
Correct.
attach your two pieces.
Yes.
If you wanted to, you could attach these two clasp ends with a jump ring or some other type
Absolutely.
of decorative element. I'd love to turn this around so that we can see the way that you finished the back.
I love details. I like finishing a piece from the beginning
Well, you have
all the
an
way
eye
to the
for
end.
it. We just have a few seconds left, but I want to take a look here and show your finished piece.
Yes, it
With
ends
the
with the
wrap
double
link.
strand and then the wrapped and then the clasp.
This is so beautiful.
Thank
And let's
you.
take one more look at the earrings. These are gorgeous. So you could create pieces that go along with your
Yeah,
ensemble.
absolutely. Once you've learned this technique, you can apply a smaller crimp there to hold the two knitted wires together and then use your branching technique that you just now learned.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much, Neely.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.